Financial lessons often come from unexpected sources. And for me, the one that transformed my life came from a moment of clarity after years of bad financial habits. In this video, I will share the story of my financial journey, from the detrimental habits that held me back to the transformative lesson that reshaped my approach to money. We will explore these aspects in detail, offering both insight and motivation for anyone seeking to make positive changes in their financial life. Before I discovered this life-changing financial lesson, my financial habits were far from ideal. In fact, they were quite damaging to my overall financial well-being. One of the most glaring issues was my lack of a budget. I had no clear plan for managing my income and expenses. Every month my money seemed to evaporate, leaving me with little to show for it. I would often overspend on dining out, entertainment, and unnecessary purchases without realizing how much these small expenses added up over time. I rarely saved any money. Even when I had surplus income, I would spend it rather than putting it aside for emergencies or future goals. In fact, I had no emergency fund. So when unexpected expenses like car repairs or medical bills cropped up, I was forced to rely on credit cards or loans with high interest rates. Over time, I had accumulated a significant amount of debt, from credit card balances to student loans. I was largely ignoring it, hoping it would somehow disappear. To make things worse, I made only minimum payments on my credit cards, resulting in mounting interest charges that made it difficult to make any real progress in paying down the debt. My financial stability rested entirely on my job. I didn't diversify my income sources, leaving me vulnerable to job loss or economic downturns. When I faced a temporary job loss, my finances spiraled out of control because I had no alternative income streams. I was afraid to invest in the stock market or any other asset class. The volatility and uncertainty scared me away from opportunities for long-term growth. For example, I missed out on potential wealth-building opportunities because I kept my money in a low-yield savings account where it barely kept up with inflation. To fully grasp the impact of these bad financial habits, let's explore each of them in more detail through examples. Imagine driving a car without a destination in mind and no map to guide you. This was my financial situation. Without a budget, I had no roadmap for my money, resulting in overspending and financial chaos. Picture a lifeboat without a life jacket or any emergency supplies. That was my financial life. Without savings, I had no safety net to rely on when unexpected expenses hit. This lack of preparation often forced me to borrow money at high interest rates, sinking me deeper into debt. Think of debt as a snowball rolling downhill, gaining size and momentum. My decision to ignore my debt was like letting that snowball grow unchecked. It meant paying interest without making a dent in the principal balance. Now imagine if a contractor builds a house on a single pillar. If that pillar collapses, so does the house. Relying solely on a job for financial security is similar. When I lost my job temporarily, I faced financial instability because I had no alternative income sources. Consider investing as planting seeds in a garden. My fear of investing was like keeping those seeds in a jar on a shelf instead of planting them. The growth potential was wasted as I watched from the sidelines. The pivotal moment in my financial journey occurred when I stumbled upon a simple yet profound lesson that reshaped my financial outlook. This lesson can be summarized in a single sentence. Your money should work for you, not the other way around. This revelation transformed my perspective on finances, leading to significant changes in my approach to money. The lesson: making money work for you. The lesson I learned emphasized the importance of putting my money to work through investments and smart financial decisions. It highlighted the distinction between assets and liabilities. Assets are things that put money in your pocket or have the potential to grow in value over time. These can include investments like stocks, real estate, or a side business that generates income. Liabilities, on the other hand, are things that take money out of your pocket. These often include debt, unnecessary expenses, or possessions that don't appreciate in value. The key takeaway was to focus on acquiring income-generating assets and reducing liabilities. The changes I made. After absorbing this valuable lesson, I took concrete steps to reshape my financial habits. A. Creating a budget. I established a budget that tracked my income and expenses meticulously. This helped me gain control over my spending and allowed me to allocate funds for savings and investments. B. Building an emergency fund. Recognizing the importance of savings, I prioritized building an emergency fund. This fund provided peace of mind and protected me from the financial turmoil that unexpected expenses used to bring. C. Tackling debt. I devised a strategy to tackle my debt. Rather than making minimum payments, I committed to paying off high-interest debt first, followed by lower-interest loans. This proactive approach helped me reduce my debt burden faster. D. Diversifying income. Understanding the risks of relying solely on a job, I explored multiple income streams. This included starting a side business, freelancing, and investing in income-producing assets like dividend stocks and real estate. E. Embracing investing. Overcoming my fear of investing, I allocated a portion of my savings into investments that matched my risk tolerance and financial goals. I diversified my portfolio to spread risk and aimed for long-term growth. How anyone can make positive financial changes. The lesson that reshaped my financial life holds universal value, and anyone can apply it to improve their financial situation. Here's how you can make positive changes. Educate yourself. Start by gaining a solid understanding of personal finance. There are numerous resources available, from books and online courses to podcasts and financial advisors. Commit to learning and staying informed about financial matters. Budget and save. Create a budget that aligns with your financial goals. Prioritize savings by paying yourself first, even before paying bills. This will help you build an emergency fund and invest for the future. Manage debt. Take a proactive approach to managing your debt. Create a debt repayment plan, focusing on high-interest debts first. Avoid accumulating more debt and explore strategies to pay it down faster. Diversify income. Explore opportunities to diversify your income. This could involve starting a side business, freelancing, or investing in income-generating assets. Multiple income streams provide stability and financial growth potential. Embrace investing. Overcome the fear of investing by starting small and gradually increasing your exposure to different asset classes. Diversify your investments to spread risk and focus on long-term goals. Seek guidance and mentorship. Consider seeking guidance from financial experts or mentors who have achieved financial success. Their experiences and advice can be invaluable in your journey toward financial improvement. In conclusion, the one financial lesson that changed my life revolved around making my money work for me rather than being a slave to it. By learning the distinction between assets and liabilities and applying this knowledge to my financial habits, I was able to transform my financial situation. It's crucial to remember that these changes did not happen overnight. They required dedication, discipline, and a commitment to financial education. However, the rewards are worth the effort: financial stability, security, and the potential for long-term wealth. I share my story and this lesson with the hope that it motivates and inspires others to take control of their financial destinies. Regardless of your current financial situation, remember that positive change is always possible when you commit to learning, planning, and taking action. Your financial future is in your hands, and with the right mindset, you can reshape it for the better. Thanks a bunch for tuning into this video on Grow Rich. I really hope you got some value and juicy information out of it. If you had a blast and found it helpful, do me a solid favor. Smash that like button and hit the subscribe. By subscribing, you'll be in the front row for all our upcoming content that's going to turbocharge your journey to financial prosperity. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the good stuff. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in our next mind-blowing video.